What's up, Trench Mob? When you get a chance, go check out our website, inthetrenchespodcast.com. And if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us on IG at In the Trenches Podcast or Twitter at Trenches Podcast and or Facebook In the Trenches with the Toulons. You are now jumping into the trenches with the Toulons, Touly and Ralph, where we pull back the curtain on what marriage and relationships are really about. So let's start the show.
Hey everyone, it's Ralph.
And this is Joe Nathan.
A.K.A.
Jonathan.
A.K.A.
Marcus.
A.K.A.
Touly.
A.K.A.
What's up, Trench Mob?
How are y'all doing today?
Welcome back. So we got another wonderful episode here.
That was rude.
Why was that rude?
Because I said, how are y'all doing today? And Craig was about to say something. You just went on and talked.
You said Craig?
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell is Craig?
He's in the trench mob.
Huh?
He's in the trench mob.
Who is Craig?
He's in the trench mob.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What is he saying?
Well, I mean, he was about to tell us how he was, and you just cut him off.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Craig.
Okay, guys. I have no idea who she's talking about.
I apologize, Craig. Go on.
Should we just start over? Let's start again. What's up, everybody? This is Touly.
And this is Ralph.
And welcome to another episode. Because apparently, I don't know who the hell Craig or Greg or whatever your name is.
They're in the trench mob.
Okay.
You don't know all the members of the trench mob, but if they speak, you allow them to talk.
Okay.
That's all. We just don't want them to stop following us.
Oh, my God. Just skip over this part, guys, and go straight to the episode.
So we have a married couple this episode.
Yeah. It's the wife coach.
Yes.
In the building.
We have the wife coach and her husband, Deacon Derek.
Deacon Derek.
It's not really a deacon, but that's what we was calling him.
Yeah, he definitely sounded like he was the husband coach that doesn't exist yet.
Not yet. But yeah, the reason why you won't hear a bio from Derek is because we wasn't sure if he was going to be able to be on the podcast. So the wife coach, which is, I guess you can kind of say, the face of their marriage.
Yes.
Yes. I initially asked her if she would be on the podcast, and then if she could just get her husband, that would be great. But it ended up working out. So we have him. So I didn't want y'all to feel like we shorted him or anything, but it just was up in the air at first.
Yeah, and it was a dope episode.
It was very good.
So we hope you enjoy.
Yeah. So we're going to get into LB's bio, and then we're going to go right into the episode. We'll see you at the end. The wife to Derek and coach to wives. Lakia LB Brandenburg is the wife coach. She is a powerful, inspirational speaker and an accomplished relationship author who is committed to helping women who are married or planning to be to know the difference between being a married woman and being a dynamic wife. In her exclusive Teach Me How to Be a Wife online masterclass, LB empowers women to get rid of the fairy tale syndrome and create a more realistic vision for their marriage and a role as a wife. By tapping into the power of the P, your position, and knowing when to tame your tongue, her clients are taught how to live the happy wife life and create their own picture-perfect marriage. Also, as a certified Prepare, Enrich instructor, LB coaches couples to prepare for marriage and enriching their relationships through the PE assessment and her customized VIP day session. Now, here's the show.
All right, everybody, we are back in the trenches, and this time we have Lakia and Derek Brandenburg. Right?
Brandenburg.
Yeah, Brandenburg. Okay.
There you go.
All right.
She's from Charleston. It's okay.
He gonna blame that on everything. Like one of my eyelashes could fall out. I like him.
Yeah, whatever.
That's because he's from Carolina too. That's why.
What part?
Yeah, that's that Carolina pride we got.
What part are you from, Derek?
Pride. I'm from Orangeburg.
Oh, is right up the street,
Down the
Jesus.
street,
Yes. Yes, God.
Little country in the building.
This is a great husband. He is
Hilarious.
Can't put nothing on him. So now that we know that he is the best husband in the world, let's just go ahead and get right on into this journey, okay? So how did y'all meet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Should I start, dear, or do you want to tell your version? Because, we may have two different versions.
That's always the case.
You tell your version and I'll make the correct.
Okay, so here we go. So see what had happened was we were in South Carolina. I at the time was attending South Carolina State University, Go Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I just so happened to walk into the barbershop that was right across the street from State. And at the time I was rocking my low cut Tony Braxton Monica, the 90s style. And I needed somebody to kind of tape up the back of my head. And my homegirl was going to this barber and she was like, oh my God, I really think you need to come with me to get your hair cut because my barber's all that. Walked into the barbershop and come to find out, Derek, unbeknownst to me, had been looking for me because I was like the mystery girl. And so apparently he had seen me some other times on campus, at a club, all this, and he knew that I was from out of town and was trying to holler at me, but I wouldn't give him no play.
No.
And so you want to tell your version. Let me tell mine. I'm in my moment. And then I, of course, got my hair cut. 10-minute haircut turned into like 30, 45 minutes because he was really trying to holler.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then he gave me his beeper number. See how old school we are. He gave me his beeper number. And then from there, we've been connected ever since. So that's how we officially met.
Okay.
My version.
Derek, do you want to make some corrections to that?
She was basically correct in all in what she said, but I saw Kia previously. Like she said, I saw her at a club. She didn't notice me. I noticed her. The night that I saw her at the club, we were at another college. What it was, maybe a college party. We was in Voorhees.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We was at another college party, and neither one of us went to that college. That was the first time I saw her. Then after that, we were in Columbia, South Carolina, and I saw her again.
Wow.
Now, her girlfriend, who I didn't know at the time was her girlfriend, I had been cutting her hair for a while. So during this time that I was cutting her hair, she mentioned to me like she had a girlfriend who had a low haircut and needed a barber. So like she said, one day I rode on campus because, during that time, that was the thing to do, was to ride on campus around 12, 1 o'clock to see everybody that was out. So this next particular time I rode through campus, who I see getting ready to cross the street is Lakia. All these 3 different times that I saw her, she never saw me. So I'm just seeing her at the time. I'm like, damn, that's her again. So I still didn't get a chance to say anything to her. So the next week or something like that, I cut her girlfriend's hair, and she was like she was going to bring her friend in to get a haircut. So I'm like, cool, bring her in. Like she said, lo and behold, when the girl came to get her haircut again, Kia walked through the door. And I said, wow, there she go again. And I'm like, this is my shot.
Yeah.
And right here, right now is my opportunity to shoot my shot. So, of course, she came and sat in the chair, got a haircut. Like she said, a 5-minute haircut turned into like an hour. I must have told Kia my whole life in 1 hour. I'm sure I did. And from there, we went out on a date, and it's been everlasting ever since.
That is something else.
That's interesting.
I know for him to see her 3 times, and then just so happened the girl hair that he cuts, that's her friend.
Hey man, God works in mysterious ways. I have a question though. So when you cut her hair, did you break out the razor? Did you put the hot towel on the neck?
I broke out everything. I faded her neck. I put the hair back on her neck and faded it again.
Oh, Lord. It was long. I knew it should have been that long.
It was a long neck fade.
Wait, he said he cut it off.
Really long.
Back on.
He said he put it back on to cut it off again. That's real game.
Right.
Girl, you gonna listen to me today.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did we get to dating? Because clearly she used the beeper number. And so
Yes.
So did she still continue to give you a hard time? Or did she was like, okay, first date, it's my boyfriend?
Nah, she didn't give me a hard time. We kind of like, we vibed very well once we had that initial conversation.
Okay,
From
that's
that,
good.
actually, I was buying a Cadillac. Maybe when did I buy that Cadillac? That day? A couple of days after we met.
Mm-hmm.
It was on our first date.
Our first date, I was purchasing a car. So I was really trying to show off.
You
when
was
yeah.
Come with
flexing.
me for a minute. Yeah. I was like, come with me for a minute. I got to go pick up my car for a minute that I'm buying. So she ended up coming with me. I ended up purchasing a Cadillac, and we went to Applebee's. That was when Applebee's was hot. That was our first date.
That was our Papa Do's. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So we went to Applebee's, and once we got to Applebee's, and then another thing that helped me out with why we lasted so long now, you know, when you're in the South and you're in the country, when the colleges are out during the summer, everyone from out of town goes back home.
Mm-hmm.
During this particular time, Lakia had a job, and she didn't leave to go home. Now, I was from Orangeburg, so I got the plug. Like, I'm from here. I got everything needed to survive here.
Right.
So while Kia's friends was away, all she could really do was spend her summertime with me.
Look at
So
God.
during that
Okay.
summer, that's how we got really, really close, was when everyone left that summer. And she was left in Orangeburg. So we stayed probably together every day during that time.
Very
and
true.
It just built from there. And once school came back in, we were certified.
Okay. Eggs and
it just went
edge
from there.
That's right. So Derek, when did you know that you wanted to propose to her and make her your wife?
Can't wait for y'all to come back. Put that ball back.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I knew. I mean, from the other occasions previously, before we even met, when I saw her on those 3 different occasions, that was ringing a bell, because I kept seeing her and noticing her and to talk to her, but she never saw me. So I wouldn't quite say that I knew at that point that she was going to be the wife, but I knew she was going to be the one.
Right. I got you.
You know, as she and I grew together, you know, it became more of me realizing that she could possibly be the wife. We had already gotten deep within what we were sharing. So I can say first off is when I initially oh, she's going to be my wife. We kind of grew into that. Wouldn't you say so, dear?
Absolutely. Honestly, there was never an official proposal. I have to always put that out there because
yes,
at the time,
I'm sorry, y'all.
That's okay. I didn't have an official proposal because Derek and I dated off and on for almost 10 years.
Jesus.
We'll be married 10 years tomorrow.
Hey.
Yeah. So we have some history there, but at the nature of our relationship at the time, I was home in Maryland. I'm from Maryland, and he was in Orangeburg. And I believe at that time we were making those life decisions, like, what are we going to do? Yeah. And it was an informal proposal over the phone, like, you want to get married? You know what I mean? Like one of them. Like that's how he is. Y'all hear the conversation. And I was like, yeah, here's the date. You know, like then it became all about getting married. So I got really focused on getting married. And I honestly kind of scared him a little bit because I was becoming more of not necessarily a bridezilla, but I was really into the whole, it's all about me. It's my wedding day. I want to have this. I want to have that. You know, like that moment. I was trying to seize that opportunity. Like, oh, okay, he said he want to get married, so let's do this. I got the date, I got the dress, I got the venue. What you want? You know, like literally had everything planned, and he looking like, what? I just show up. So very interesting. I always like to say that. I wasn't formally proposed to, but I honestly think that was a very critical time in our relationship because that was where we had to make a decision on which road we were going to take. Are we going to continue to grow as a couple, or are we going to go our separate ways?
Okay.
Yeah.
So that long distance thing had to be tough. Is that why it was kind of off and on?
It was very difficult because wasn't that the time though, dear, when I believe when Derek and I started, I guess, dating, I was in my junior, almost senior year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, like junior, senior year of college. So literally I was about to graduate. Was I going to move back home? Was I going to stay in Orangeburg? And because during the summers I would work in Orangeburg, there was one summer where I started to work at home in Maryland. So I was in the DMV area. And so we were still having this long distance relationship. But Derek didn't see marriage in his future, just to be honest. And I was coming from a background where marriage wasn't the most positive thing that you saw. So I saw two parents who painted a picture of marriage being turmoil, marriage being argumentative, marriage being abusive, marriage being so many negative things that if that was what I was going to experience, then why get married, right? And the same thing with him. He had, and Derek, you can attest to this, he didn't have many examples of marriage in his family. He just had aunties and uncles that went together forever. Like they go together, they go steady. So we looking at, okay, how are we going to get this thing called marriage together? And we have no real examples. What does that look like? What are we going to do? Let's not get married to get divorced. So those were the conversations we were having. But again, I started getting more focused on becoming that bride. And I didn't focus on becoming
Oh, yeah. So let's hear Derek's side of how did that transitioning, focusing on the wedding and not being a wife. How did that kind of, I guess?
It was difficult. It was scary on my behalf because, like she said, I had no model of a marriage before me. Like everything that I learned came from the neighborhood that I grew up in and watching those around me, which was not good models. You know, my auntie my auntie was like men. Like they'll have a dude come through the front door and put him out the front door, and there's another one coming through the back door. Like that's just how it was. It was common. It wasn't nothing that was different than the norm for me. Mm-hmm. So with Lakia, more like I called the wedding twice, baby?
Just once.
Just once. Okay, well, once I called, I got cold feet and didn't go through with it. And then we pretty much had a conversation about, like, we had been together during that time close to, how many years you would say?
At least 8.
At least 8.
I've been in there.
Yeah.
I wanted my ring.
I was in there at least 8 years, and she was all within being the bride, and I didn't have a model, didn't know nothing about marriage, was never educated on marriage, so I was going to get within this thing of marriage and fail, like I just knew it. Mm-hmm. So she ended up, she was in a hair salon, one of her girlfriend's hair salon, and she was talking. Someone overheard you speaking, baby, or
yes.
were you talking directly to them?
She was newly married. She had been married 3 months, and I told her that Derek and I had just broken up because Derek, I always say, jilted me at the altar. We didn't get that far, but literally the informal invitations had been sent out. My wedding dress had been ordered. The venue, we paid a deposit on the venue. I bought my ring. Like all this stuff, told you I was ready for that day, but he wasn't ready to be a bride. I was ready to be a bride, but I wasn't ready to be a wife. And so he had to be honest and say, look, I'm not ready. It's not that I don't want to be with you, but let's do it the right way. Like, let's try to figure out how to do this and kind of calm my nerves because I'm nervous. I don't want to get married and it basically doesn't work. And so I was in the salon and a young lady had been married for 3 months and she talked about how she and her husband went through this very intense training, this premarital education and training for almost a year with this guy called Senior Chap. And we were like, okay, I was like, oh, wow, I would love to hear more. What's his information? Contacted Senior Chap and come to find out his whole mission is to destroy the spirit of divorce. Like he takes you through training in education, like basically turns your marriage, quote unquote, counseling sessions into education sessions. And so when I brought this information to Derek, at this time, again, we had broken up. We were basically I was calling it quits. He still wanted to kind of make it work. But I'm like, no, you don't want to marry me. You done embarrassed me. I was just hurt. But it was the best thing he could have done. It was honestly the best thing he could have done because I knew in my heart I wasn't ready to really be married. I just wanted to have a wedding day.
Yeah.
So Chap came along and really sat us down and said, okay, look, this is what marriage is about. This is what a husband is. This is what a wife is. This is how you create your marriage to be what you want it to be. These are the 5 pillars of marriage. Like he really broke it down to a point where Derek started seeing marriage as something that we could be successful in. And I started seeing my role, like how I really would play and making it, successful on my part and he'll make it successful on his. So that was probably one of the best things we did. We postponed the actual wedding and we focused on becoming husband and wife.
Yes.
And that's another reason, I don't mean to cut you off, but that was another reason why I never gave off the full proposal. Because once we took the course and we finished the course, it was almost like we graduated from the class. Because we set the wedding date doing that we was in the sessions and having our courses. So that was another reason why I was never able to actually get on one knee and ask my wife to marry me. Because the course in which we took, once we finished the course, it was like our graduation date, and that was the day that we got married.
I'm acting like you couldn't have.
I mean, I could have.
You know what I'm saying?
I did, but it was everything about Lakia and our marriage has been totally unique. It has not been anything of the normal or anything that has been traditional. Can you agree, baby? Like our whole marriage has been different.
Yes. Like when most people are spending their first year planning their wedding out, we were literally planning our marriage. So we put more emphasis on being successful. So when most people say their first, y'all know how we hear the first 2 years are like the hardest. We didn't have that because we experienced it during premarital education and training.
Okay.
Like we done broke up 15 times,
right.
you know.
And this was all through education and training. Like in our living room, we broke up at least 15 times. I actually had to put the teacher out. Like it got that intense. Like I was like, get out.
Chap love us though. Chap love us.
Yeah, he do love us. He will put it on. So I put him out. Like we went through a lot in that year of education and training, but it prepared us for now. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't take any of it back because, I mean, I couldn't go to counseling during that time because counseling give advice and I knew nothing about marriage.
Yeah.
So going through his course of education and training, he educated me first. Now he can counsel me because I've been educated on marriage. Mm-hmm. So it was a great experience.
Now, just a little bit of the counseling and training that you went through for you, Derek, and you, Lakia, both separate. What was the hardest part for you, Derek, and what was the hardest part for you, Lakia?
The hardest part for me, actually, I mean, I think initially just having to do it was the hardest part. See, once I got involved with the education and training, he taught the lesson from such a different perspective because I hadn't had a relationship with God. So with him applying most of everything that he was teaching from God's perspective, I was really intrigued by learning God. So during this whole year that we have been experiencing and going through this training, I was getting closer to God like I had never been closer before. So it was actually getting easier while we was doing training, but it was just the courses or like the intent of him making sure that we were prepared for one another was hard because Kia had to be stripped from what she felt she knew to be a wife and it wasn't. So he would strip Kia and have Kia crying and it would just make me feel so bad, but he was doing it for a real purpose. Mm-hmm. In those moments of Kia, being stripped and being ripped from what she assumed and thought a wife was to be and what he was saying she had to do and needed to do, those moments were hard, but they were for a greater purpose. So, it wasn't that hard, but just some of the stuff we had to deal with in the course was kind of complicated to go through.
Oh, now that we've got Deacon Derek's...
Wow. My first call, I'm a deacon.
Yeah. Well, I got to put you there when you spitting words, so I just had to go ahead, deacon. So, thank you. Okay.
Word.
Yeah.
We'll be having edge ups at the chapel tonight.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so for me, I think the hardest part was the mirror was put in my face. I was quick to put blame on Derek. Everything was Derek's fault. Everything. Like everything. And so what Chap did, that's why some of those sessions I was in tears because he was basically letting me know your ish stink too. And ish is issues. You know what I'm saying? Like you got problems too. So won't you deal with that? Let's talk about how you talk to Derek. That's where Taming Your Tongue Tuesday birthed out of. Right there in the living room of our townhome at the time. You know what I mean? Like he was putting the mirror on me. It was like mirror on the wall. What are things that LB needs to focus on? Kia, this Kia is my nickname.
Right.
What are those things that she needs to address before she becomes a wife? Because the way I was showing up, the way I would have showed up if we had gotten married, I think it was in August, Derek. It was supposed to be in August. I would have been showing up as a married woman, not a wife. I would have been showing up as that, Mrs. Sarcastic, Mrs. Controlling, Mrs. Know-it-all, all of those things. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from that. But those weren't even things I was recognizing at the time. I wasn't even aware that I was doing those things and that it would cause issues in a relationship. So when those things were brought to my attention, I had to deal with it. It's like you telling me, wait a minute, what? I'm not perfect? Wait a minute, what? I got some issues, And then
he is lying
you know
to
what I'm
me.
saying? Like, no, Chap, that's you. That's Derek. I had to own it. So owning it was the hardest part for me. That's why I'm so not necessarily, it's like tough love when I speak to my wives and I coach my wives. It's letting them know, like, look, boo, own your ish. That's where your power is. When you're ready to point the finger at him and say everything that he's not doing and how he's not showing up, you're literally taking your power away. So that was one of the hardest things I had to do, but I'm happy I made it through because now I've been able to step into the power of the P.
Yes. And go ahead and tell people what the power of the P is.
Power of the P. Don't know where your mind just went. Don't know where it went. But
tell them, girl.
It's your position. It's your position. There's power in that other stuff too. But that position is what I'm talking about. Your position as a wife. So I stepped into that position, and now I feel that I'm reigning as queen of my castle.
Yes, God. That's what I'm talking about.
Ow.
Now.
Hey.
Right.
So now that we
you got a king over here.
Yeah. oh, we ain't dismiss you. She knows she got her king.
So do.
Now, how long were y'all married before the wife coach came?
Okay. So the wife coach actually was birthed sort of like inadvertently when I wrote my first book, Picture Perfect. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect, but together we're picture perfect. Was released in 2011.
Okay, pause right there. Just because you brought that up.
Okay.
What made you write the book?
Good. Because Derek and I had been through premarital education and training, like we successfully made it through. We had a lot of people that were kind of looking at us, our friends who were couples or dating. And it was like, so how y'all make it work? Because the things that they were dealing with, we somehow had a plan to work it through, or we had tools to help us work through communication issues, or, maybe how we dealt with our finances. And so I decided, like, you know what? We have this quote unquote picture perfect marriage that people see, but it's a whole lot of imperfections in this joint.
Right.
So why don't I write about, or share my story of how we came together to give my friends, to give women who are in my position, who've been dating their boyfriends for maybe longer than 5 years. We dated almost 8 or 10 years before we got married. And I'm not suggesting you do that. However, I'm kind of happy we did spend that much time getting to know each other in our 20s because we grew up together. It's like we had to grow as single individuals. Like we had to understand the 19-year-old that Derek met back in the day is not the 40-year-old that I am today. You know what I'm saying? So like just understanding that growth, we were able to grow with each other, which allowed us to have a stronger bond in that essence. So I had to write about it. And I wanted to show women how to create their picture perfect marriage, not based on imperfection. I mean, not based on perfection, not based on fairy tales, not based on unrealistic expectations, but based on your spouse, what he's coming to the table with, what you're coming to the table with. How do we make these things work for us? How can we still be happy? How can we still, make it last forever? Like Keith Sweat say, if we don't have an example. Because I always say, if you don't have an example, then become the example.
Hey.
So that's what sparked Picture Perfect. And from that birthed the wife coach. So I was inadvertently actually coaching women through my book. And my book actually opened up doors for me to go and speak, to do workshops. And I was connected to a young lady by the name of Coriel DeBose, who is my homegirl today. And she had an organization at the time called the Single Wives Club. And I started mentoring women, single women who are preparing to become wives. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, I specialize in that, girl. So from there, that became, my name. Like they started calling me the wife coach. So it was like an endearing term. But then I said, well, you know what? I am coaching women to become wives. So that's my title. And so I think it was in 2014, I started really embracing it. 2013, 2014, I started embracing it. And the rest is still history, still moving forward as the wife coach.
Now, with you doing this coaching, honestly, is it hard to help women transition to a more realistic vision of marriage?
It's not hard for me. It's hard for them.
Well, yeah, that's
you know what I mean? Yeah, because you got to think about it. The funny thing about what I tell and what I teach, and even when we met, even what I coach, it's nothing new. I'm not telling you anything new that you probably never heard before. It's just the way I'm saying it and the perspective I'm giving you. So now you're looking like, well, you know what? Maybe it is me. Because one of the things I always say, sometimes it's not him, it's you. And they be like, ooh, you right. Like they know. So knowing is one thing, doing is another. So what I do is I provide you with the tools, but you got to use them. And if you don't use them, guess what? The same thing you've been complaining about for the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you're going to continue to complain about, and it's going to continue to get on your nerves. And you're going to continue to say, you know what? This is it. I'm throwing in the towel. I can't do this. But many people are throwing in the towel for fixable situations. So
do you get more women that are married or single?
I get more, it's funny. It's more women who are married, but the single women, they on your girl. They coming for me because they like, LB, I'm not married yet. I'm not dating, but I promise you I'm taking notes. If I had a man, I would be signing up for your masterclass right now. So they are watching, but the bulk or the majority of the women I serve, they're married or engaged. I've had women who are newlyweds all the way who have been married over 25 years.
Wow.
I had a woman that came up to me who has been married for 40 years and said, LB, I have been a married woman, not a wife.
Oh my God.
They talking about hard.
Wow.
That's going to be hard.
Wow, 40 years.
40 years because she's stuck in her mode of what she thinks is supposed to work. And it's not working for her. But if she's ready to make that change and that shift, I have the tools for you to do so. I'm going to tell you little things to do, practical things to do that's going to shift things in your relationship. And if you do them, you'll start seeing it. If not, then you're on the way you've been going. You know what I mean?
Do y'all ever get asked? Well, do you ever get asked to kind of like do a couples like coaching to where it's like they want your husband's perspective as well, kind of like to make their husband or their fiance to feel comfortable and see he can do it.
No, that's good. They it's not that they actually say they want me to do couples coaching with my husband. What they'll say is, where's the husband coach?
Got you.
So I guess those are sort of like, little hints or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like underlying things like, okay, wait a minute.
Where your husband at?
Yeah, like LB, I love what you're saying, but shoot, who talking to the husband?
Right.
Yeah,
Where's the husband coach?
That was going to be my question because we need one of those.
Yes, Jesus.
Absolutely. And so my thing is this. Okay, yes, we need husband coaches. And I get these questions all the time. And I'm like this, at the end of the day, you had to make the decision to marry a man who you felt was either husband material or not. At the end of the day, you're the one who is questioning your happiness or what's going wrong in your marriage. So if you want to see change, I'm not saying that puts y'all off the hook, but if you want to see change, let's start working on you first. Because what if the husband coach don't come? Then what? People still getting married at record numbers every day.
Yep.
I was just at a wedding. And one thing, this observation, and I think you guys want to hear from Derek too, because the observation was when the bouquet is being thrown, the women are fighting,
jumping
for that bouquet.
Oh my God.
Jumping over each other, like
sliding on the floor.
So guess what? But then when that garter is being thrown, they kick it, they move out the way. See, people don't pay attention to that, but I do.
Spin moves.
But yes, you're talking about where is the husband coach, but look who you marrying. You just want to get married.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my baby. Where you at, baby? They need you, husband coach.
Please.
Where you at?
He like no
I'm
thanks.
here. I'm available. You can reach me on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Don't have no issues on Tuesdays.
Funny.
So, in doing the wife coach, what is the level of, what is the success rate for it? Have you had anybody that's come in and just couldn't get it together?
So I've encountered several women on different journeys in their marriages or in different seasons. I like to say marriages happen in seasons. And so I had a young lady, I teach a masterclass, a 6-week online masterclass. That's the only masterclass that's changing married women into happy, healthy, successful wives, by the way. This young lady came to me and was literally like, okay, I think class maybe started in 2 days. She said, I gave my husband 90 days to get it together or I'm out.
What?
And I'm looking at her like, ooh, okay. I don't know if you need to sign up for the masterclass because you sound like your expectations are unrealistic. Like I'm only this thing, baby girl. If you only giving him 90 days, that means that where you are, it didn't just happen yesterday.
Right.
Y'all been working or not working on this thing for many years or months or whatever. And so I told her, if you sign up for my masterclass, I'm not talking about your husband, I'm talking about you. I said, so if you sign up for it, look at it as an investment in yourself. And anything that you get better at, everything else around you will get better, right? So she signed up for the masterclass. We fought in that masterclass, like through just pushing her and getting her to not think the same way. And when I tell you to this day, I can look on my social media, we're still connected. She and her husband are still together. Yes. They're dating more. They're going out. She looks happier. There's a weight that looks like it was lifted off of her. And I'm saying, I ain't no miracle worker. She did the work. I provided the tool.
Right.
So I had women who have come on the brink of divorce and they're still with their spouses. And let me tell you, I've had that one woman who said, okay, I'm going to bring a divorce. And guess what? They still serve the papers. So my success rate has been amazing because women are seeing the power in themselves and how, okay, maybe I'm not showing up as my best self. And when you take that reflection and look at yourself, that's where change starts and you start seeing things on the outside shift. But you also have to be realistic. Some people will come to me and say, where were you 5 years ago? Where were you 10 years ago? And then my husband, Derek, what do you always say about people who get married? They shouldn't what? They get married to what? The wrong person?
Oh, yeah, they get married to the wrong person and try to figure them out within the marriage. Like a lot of us, we have to understand that, We got two individuals coming from two different walks of life that's coming together to try to make it forever. We put a lot into each other to do's and don'ts of what a marriage should be, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. The relationship within the marriage is what carries the marriage. You understand? The interaction that you and your woman have with one another. Kia and I learned through education and training that where I learned the imperfections that Kia has are the imperfections that's always going to show up. I have to accept those imperfections because no matter what, they are going to show. If I don't accept these imperfections, the things that I love about Kia, she don't have to work on. She's great at doing those things for me. You know what I'm saying? It's the things that I may dislike or she may dislike about me that's going to always show up that she's going to have to deal with and I'm going to have to deal with. So she and I embrace each other's imperfections. And I think a lot of people don't choose to do that. The things that they like about one another is where they want to stay. As soon as some imperfection shows up, then they want to shy away from the person. Now, most individuals find those imperfections out once they're married because you always get that representative up until that point. And then once you become married, you start learning the person that you with and find out it's a lot of flaws that they have that you may can't tolerate. Because you can be with two different individuals, two great men, two great women. They have great qualities. And it's just something about this man or this particular woman that you can't tolerate. But there's some stuff from this man or this woman that you can. What's the difference? They both got great qualities. They both got imperfection. But why can you accept his and not accept his? But those are what you're going to have to tolerate, the imperfections of that individual. So Kia and I knowing that and embracing those imperfections, it makes what we have work. Now, if that works for us, it don't have to work for everyone else, but we just try to give those tools for everyone else to look to that could work for you as well.
Deep. Go ahead, man. Break it down for the people.
I was just going to say, what's your cash app so we can send you a donation? We're going to tie to you tonight, okay? Because, wow.
See?
Because you don't hear that from men.
Nah, that's very rare. You're arguably the first I've ever heard say that.
On this podcast.
On this podcast, for sure.
Okay.
That is a name, well, for me, I don't even think I've ever gone to that level.
No.
I'm still learning myself. And
Yes.
the reason she said no like that was shade. But we're going to let it go because she right. Because she right. It's okay. I'm still learning. I'm no husband coach yet. We're going to get there one day, though.
We getting there.
God.
So with that said, I know for probably a lot of people, and I'm trying to see if you're going to go there. So where does the growth come in if I'm just accepting the flaws and he's accepting my flaws? Where does the growth come in?
That's good. So I think there's a difference between accepting and appreciating. So when you think about accepting somebody's flaws, it's like, I feel like that whole, it's like, I accept it. Fine. I accept him for being who he is. Mm-hmm. There's no appreciation there for it. Instead of looking at it as how can his flaws make me better and how can my flaws make him better? See, that's a mindset shift. Mm-hmm. So I need to appreciate him for what he brings to the table. The things that I can tolerate or choose to tolerate, just allow him to be who he is. Like that's growth within itself because most of the time we want to change it.
Yes.
So when you get to the point where you stop trying to change it, that's growth. Marriage will mature you or expose the immaturity in you. And so on this journey, you're going to be given several opportunities. Y'all speaking to a couple who've been married almost 10 years, Tamaras. You're going to be given so many opportunities to grow. And that growth is going to be fighting against what you think your way should be or fighting against what you think marriage is supposed to be or holding on to a fairy tale syndrome or all of these different things. So there's going to be so many opportunities for you to grow. And I think it goes beyond just accepting or appreciating somebody's flaws. It's really digging within yourself to say, how can I show up better? Like, how can I show up better? So if me showing up better means to appreciate what he's bringing to the table instead of just saying, fine, I accept it. Because it's like, even the word tolerate, like, fine, I tolerate it. Like, I'm just dealing with it. Okay, whatever. I ain't going to fight it no more. I'm just going to be quiet. But deep down inside, you got an issue with it. Mm-hmm. That's what we need to deal with. Not having an issue with it. Not having a problem with it, but saying, you know what? I appreciate the differences in you. I appreciate that you make me think differently. I appreciate that you do things different than I do, or you say things differently because we can't be the same person. We're both two different individuals who should be complimenting each other. How I'm a girl, we think alike.
Girl, if you don't.
It's okay for us to think differently. You know, it's okay for us to think differently as long as we think together. See, that's the mindset shift. That's another thing that I deal with in the masterclass, because it's all about understanding your marriage mindset. And that's where the growth takes place.
Yeah.
Get 'em, baby.
Yes.
I know, man.
And I'm glad she said
Cash App Life with LB.
yes. But I am so glad you said that, because I feel like in dating, and I'm even a victim to this too, that I was looking for somebody like me. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people go into dating looking for somebody like them. So when they don't see those characteristics, they're just like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. Mm-hmm. Where you want someone different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you need someone different.
Yeah, because it's like, what,
you need someone different.
Where does the growth come in if we're both the same?
Yeah, I've already experienced the same.
Oh,
and that was my first marriage.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you're the same, there will be no growth. It'll be a lot of toxic conversations or situations. And especially when you're not mature enough to either understand that, it just causes it's a train wreck. Mm-hmm. So,
and it is comfort.
Exactly.
Like, there's no growth in comfort.
Right. There's no challenge in it either.
No.
So nobody's challenging anybody because we're the same way.
That's good.
And ultimate failure. So now I get married again, and now it's every day. I got a new task.
Got a new challenge.
It's like American Ninja, and I got to figure out how to get to the end. Oh, I can't go to bed or some shit like that. It's like, help me, please, help me, Lord.
Ninja warrior.
But it's fun though.
You think it's fun?
Shit. Hilarious.
Do you not laugh?
I laugh, but then I look at you and I want to give you the middle finger every time.
Well, it's fine because you know I would laugh.
I know you would laugh.
Oh.
She laughs at my.
I do.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, no, I do. I have the most.
She's rude.
From the toe laugh. Like when he does something and I know that comes from a true place.
Mm-hmm.
She laughed right in my face.
But I can't hold it.
So disrespectful.
No, like it was one time we were going to pick up our son from his godmother, and he pretended like he was going to hit me with a grocery bag.
Oh, she was weak.
Nothing in the grocery bag now. So, it's just air. But when I tell you, I exceeded all my laughs for that day. Okay?
Tickled your bones.
Right.
And he was just like, why are you laughing so hard?
She laughs in the most disrespectful moments. And I'd be like, you shouldn't be laughing right now, right? But it's so funny.
I can't say I'm sorry, but that was funny, babe.
Whatever. Back to the questions.
Okay, so since we're talking about the differences and growth, I know one of your lovely things that you coach on is taming the tongue.
Yeah, man.
So my question is, why is it that you have to help women with taming their tongue? And is it most women are prone to having a harsh tongue? And
before you answer, do you have an ad hoc class for that? Because I would love to sign my wife up for it. Okay, continue.
And listen,
that's why you're going to have private classes with Deacon Derek.
The reason why Tame Your Tongue is so popular because she had the fattest tongue.
You know what?
Like, y'all don't understand. Her tongue was thick. Like, it was not regular.
It was thick.
It's a thick tongue.
That's how you describing it today? Okay.
I'm just saying, that's why that is so popular with Tame Your Tongue, because she had to tame her. And she had to come. That was the mirror that she had to face in that education and training. Because women, listen, the same tongue you tell your husband you love him with is the same tongue you can hurt him with. Mm-hmm. So you have to watch what you say, because if you want him to feel that love that you want him to feel when you say, I love you, all the great things that you do say about him, if you want him to feel that from you, then when you say something to him that hurts him, he feels that. So that's why taming your tongue is very important, because it's coming out of the same mouth. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you have to tame your tongue when you're talking to a man.
Yeah.
You have to. It's imperative.
But then there's the answer. No, that's the answer. Literally, that's why. Because I knew that when I started shifting the way I spoke processing, why I was feeling the way I was feeling, really just dealing with me, not giving the silent treatment. Sometimes I still do because I'm not perfect, but recognizing it and being aware of it, I started seeing shifts. So when I started seeing those shifts in my relationship for the better, I was like, wait a minute, hold up. Okay, well, let me share with you what I did. And when I tell you 95% of the women, when I say tame your tongue, they look at me and roll their eyes.
Oh, Lord. Jesus.
Which just tells me they need to tame their tongue. They know. So if there were what do they say? If there were a fly on the wall and you were saying certain things to your husband, would you say those same things in public? Would you say those same things in front of strangers? Would you see what I'm saying? Like, would you do those same things? And if not, then you need to put a muzzle on it. And it's not that you need to not talk. It's just knowing what to say. Right. Sometimes you do. Derek say, I bump my gums. Is that what you call it? Bumping my gums?
Yeah.
He said I bump my gums, which means I'm just talking. But sometimes you need to just be silent. Sometimes everything doesn't have to have a response. Everything doesn't have to have the last word. And that took maturity. And I'm still growing. But a lot of women don't realize that it's their communication, their ineffective communication skills that's tearing up their relationship. Yeah. You want him to talk to you, but you don't know how to talk to him.
Right.
Yeah, because what is this saying? I think it's from the book Love and Respect. Women want to be loved and men want to be respected.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's true.
Absolutely. And when we show y'all respect, y'all in turn show love.
Absolutely.
And you can't respect a man if you're talking out the side of your neck. So yes, that's number one. She can sign up. I sign up for the next master class.
My thing is not how I talk to him. Well, not really what I say, is my tone.
It's the tone.
Because I don't tear you down now, but it's the tone in which I communicate in when I'm frustrated.
Right. Yeah. It could be like, did you wash the dishes? But then it'll come off in a way that I want to break the dishes over her head.
Eric, no. You know what you're talking about? And I think, like you said, it grows out of frustration. And so we have to learn, why does that make us frustrated? Yeah. I had to go, it went all the way back to me washing the dishes. It's so funny you said washing the dishes, because that's my love language is acts of service.
Is it now? Is it?
Y'all
Number one. Yes. Number one.
Like, and y'all know, I still to this day can't understand how that turns her on. Like, I don't know why. Washing dishes makes my wife hot.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
and I'm trying to tell you.
Crazy to me. Now listen, y'all, I grew up in a household of 7 women. I was the only dude. My uncles were out in the streets. So in my household, the women took care of everything in the house.
Yeah.
Even if I made up my bed, Granny came behind me and made it the way she wanted made up. So eventually I stopped making up my bed. Now, I'm not a nasty person by far. But when it came to my household and being raised from my lifestyle, women did everything for me in the house. I did everything on the outside. You understand? So when I got with Kia's service in the home, she washed the dishes, cleaned the clothes, wiped down the walls. She did everything growing up in her household. So when we came together, of course, with us building what we have and trying to share our marriage, now we have to compromise with doing it for each other. So now I gotta help do these things. So yet to this day, we have a chemistry of it. She washes the clothes, I fold the clothes. Now sometimes I don't do it. Okay, she may wash them, have them folded, and we'll end up getting them off the couch or wherever while they're still folded. I don't put them up, and oh my God, that's a whole nother situation. But lately, baby, you can say I've been doing good, baby.
Hey, you have, dear.
Hey, look,
you know that I do.
I can contest to that. Mm-hmm. I started folding clothes on Sunday. Ask me where the clothes are.
On the couch.
On the
couch. Yes, but that was crazy because she kept saying like that is an act of service. That's her love language. And coming from where I come from, how is that your love language? Like, I've never heard a woman love language being cleaning the house. Like, as long as the house is clean, y'all, we are fine.
No.
Like, we're fine as long as the house is clean.
That's because Dr. Gary Chapman gave us a way to express what we've been trying to say for many, many years. And for me, it's washing those dishes. Because I grew up washing dishes, drying dishes, putting up dishes. I don't want to do it no more.
But I grew up not washing dishes.
Right.
You have to meet in the middle.
But that's where the growth happens.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? Like that now, Derek's talking about, okay, fine. You can't understand for the life of you how washing the dishes is something. But for me, that's relieving pressure. That's when I'm overwhelmed, feeling like I have to be, mama, wife, run my businesses, all of these different things, helping out, like taking that one task off my list. makes me feel like, okay, I see you. I see that you're overwhelmed. Let me help.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
So
I
that's all
feel
it
like
is.
you're considering, you're being considerate of me. You're thinking
Yes.
of me. You, like you say, you see me. So it's just like when you see me doing the household chores, taking care of the kids, helping you with your stuff that doesn't have nothing to do with me, not giving myself self-care, and then you don't ever look at me like, dang, she doing everything. Let me do this for her. That makes you feel bad.
Yes.
Yeah. As a man, it makes you feel bad to know that, you know, you're dropping the ball in the area that you should be extremely successful in, right? Knowing that isn't the expectation of your wife. But yeah, it's not that easy. Because I'm like that. A lot of the things were done for me in the household too. So I struggle from the same thing.
But it should never get to the point where I don't think, but I can't tell someone else how to feel. But, you know, some of the things that may irritate my wife about me, I don't see how she gets to that point with irritation. Because some things that I may not like about her don't irritate me to that point. Like, she can do things that she has been doing since we have been dating and how she does. But I don't never reach that point of irritation that she does when it's on me. So it's like she can do something that I can consider a problem for me, but she won't know it's a problem for me. My wife, on the other hand, is going to make that known.
Oh, absolutely.
That is a problem for her. You know what I mean? So I would take on all of the imperfections that she may do and the flaws she may have, and I would never say nothing to her about it when she does it. I just notice the flaw, I accept the flaw, appreciate the flaw, as she say, and we move on. Now, when my flaw comes up, it's out in the open.
Wait.
Oh, my God.
Wait, so
you know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a question. Who's the more patient person?
Me.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, no, that's not. I don't think that's why.
That's part of the reason, though.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that might be part of the reason.
That's part of the reason why it's not as big for you as it is for her. Because you have more patience in dealing with some of the things that she might say to you.
But I'm trying to show her, I'm trying to rub some of that patience off on her because it's not an issue.
Same.
Like, okay, prime example. Let me tell y'all a little story, right? Okay. Kia like sandwiches, fish sandwiches with extra tomatoes, extra pickles, and potato sauce on.
You better know
okay. I don't like, I'm not you know how you go out to the restaurant and you got to be very picky. I want to limit my water. This is not hot enough. You send it back. I'm not one of those dudes. I'll pretty much take what I have and roll with the person. Yes. All right. So I'll go through the line. I get my wife a sandwich, and I probably don't check the bag. I come home and it ain't got no extra tomatoes on it. God
and
dang.
it's chicken.
You understand what I'm saying? So now she is totally freaked out and upset. Her whole sandwich is shot to hell now. Okay, now, it's not that it don't have no tomatoes on it. It just don't have the extra tomatoes on it.
Oh, my God.
You know what I'm saying? So now that it don't have more than one, she is looking like I done messed up the whole meal. Like, why you couldn't have checked the meal before you left to make sure my extra tomatoes are on it? So she blows up about that. So now I'm pissed off. She's pissed off. Now the sandwich ain't even good no more. There go our night. Now, on my behalf, she goes to Chipotle. I specifically write down, message her what I want on it. She comes home. There are no beans on my
in your
meal.
bowl. Mm-hmm.
In my bowl, I have no beans, right? So when I go through my bowl, I look in the bowl. I say, babe, where my such and such beans at? You ain't asked for such and such. I said, babe, I did. Look at your text message. Oh, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. That was it. It was no blowout. It was no problem. It was no situation behind it. Baby, you forgot the beans. You forgot the beans. It's still some good food. I just don't have the beans on it. It's fine. So I be trying to show her, like, why is it that I can be okay with the mistake that you make, but you have to blow up on my mistake?
We're the same.
And that's something that we still battle with to this day.
Well, I'm going to tell you
just happened a couple of days ago, huh, baby?
We're the same. When I say me and Derek are the same.
Yeah.
Maybe the way you respond is differently, but
yeah.
Yeah, Ralph will respond and she'll be like, yeah, what we going to do is we going to email customer service.
But see, I don't.
And we going to get a coupon or two. We going to get, free chicken sandwiches till the end of October.
Oh, man.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah.
Well, I think for me, like, yeah, not to that extent, but I like listening to that. The only thing that I could think of for me, what would take me there is me in my mindset of thinking I do all of this stuff, Jesus, and all I ask is one more extra tomato, Jesus.
And so let me just say that. See, I was gonna let my husband have that, but let me let y'all know something. First of all, you got to do that when it's like when you trying to make your point. First of all, it wasn't fish; it was chicken. So let's start there. So the whole meal was messed up. Now, my husband, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're very patient. But I feel like I should also be able to express or explain if something is bothering me. I mean, I'm a woman. We're a little bit more emotional and expressive than
But
y'all.
hold on a minute. Stop right there. I don't mean to cut you off. But you don't have to apply emotions to all situations. This is not an emotional situation
I was hungry.
there should be in. But that's just being hungry. Being hungry and being emotional is two different things.
I was angry.
But you don't need emotions in hunger. That's all I'm saying. Take the emotions out of it. And women, a lot of times y'all put emotions in places that are not needed. I'm not saying get rid of your emotions. I'm just saying control them. Men have them too.
Man, we best friends.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You have to control them. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, baby.
I did.
Yeah, we best friends. Me and Derek best friends. He don't even know it yet.
Yeah, but I snapped on Touly one time. Who was it? Grubhub?
Yeah.
Yeah, Grubhub was late with the food. And I think we had like an interview to do or something. And he asked me something and I don't know.
She murked out on me like I was Grubhub. I was like, yo.
Hilarious.
What do you want me to do? I can go make you, a grilled cheese until it gets here. Like, how can I support you in this until the food arrives?
You didn't say that, but that would have been a nice option.
Next time I'll remember that.
Please.
See, when she murked out on me, it was kind of like, well, I don't want to say shit now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk back to the couch and be quiet.
That's right.
Exactly.
Be quiet. Till the food get in. Okay, so outside of is it Mr. Gary? What was his name?
Oh, Chap.
Did y'all ever do any counseling?
So honestly, we have not. I believe we had maybe one session again with Chap, and I've had individual sessions with Chap. But Derek and I actually attended for the very first time this year a marriage conference.
Okay.
It was Marriage Ain't for Punks with Pastor Kyle and Wendy Roberson. And that was our first time coming together because, I don't know, we just have never really sought out marriage conferences, retreats. But after attending that, I can see the benefit. I mean, I know that as a wife coach, I always say I'm a coach, but I'm still coachable.
Right.
So I've always put myself in a position where I can learn and how to be a better me. Even though I'm telling y'all what to do, telling all wives what to do. But sometimes, hey, I need somebody else to come in and tell me what to do. But hey, watch it now. But no, that was definitely a great experience because it allowed us to come together, to connect with other couples, to see, couples from different, they've been married, newlyweds, some 20 plus years. It was just a beautiful thing. But I really believe that this next 10 years, and that's something Derek and I have talked about, we're going to have to do some things differently. And that's not a bad thing. I always say assess the season you're in.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to grow. And being able to grow means don't wait until the engine light comes on. Go get the maintenance.
Yeah.
Like waiting till something is completely wrong to go see a counselor is too late. I think we need to start incorporating that. Like, how can we continue to grow? Like, yes, we've made it 10 years. That's beautiful. Let's celebrate. But how are we going to continue to grow as husband and wife? How are we going to continue to grow individually? What's our marriage going to look like in 5 years, 10 years? You know what I mean? How are the children going to be raised? Our all of the different things we want to do in this thing called life as a partnership. How are we going to get there? And I think counseling will help us to make better decisions.
I love that. Yeah. Because we're, once a monthers?
Yeah, we have counseling on Saturday.
Yeah.
We go once a month.
Once
We've
a
been
month.
going since premarital counseling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It'll be 3 years.
Very good.
3 years in January. So
Keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Even when we don't have issues, we just still go for, like I said, tools, tips that we can keep using.
Maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance. We just
Absolutely.
keep going for that.
it's that oil change.
Yes.
Because neither one of
Yeah,
us
man,
came
for
from, like how you said, great examples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I don't know really what this is supposed to look like or how to do it right, why wouldn't I go get a coach? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
if you've never been to the gym and you like, okay, I really want to lose this weight, wouldn't you get a trainer?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you may not need a trainer the whole time, but like maybe your first couple of times at the gym, maybe I should get a trainer just to show me how to use the equipment, you know. And then once I get a routine, like, okay, I'm good. And then anytime I need to transition to something else, let me get my trainer again. So it's like we have our trainer for our marriage. So
yeah, exactly.
Yep. There's nothing harder in life than marriage. Don't care what anybody says.
Right.
My job does not compare to this ever. I tell everybody, somebody was like, your job seems hard. Is that the hard? You know, that seems like the hardest thing you've ever done.
No.
Nope. Marriage.
Like I've said, like, and I've had one child with no medication. I would do that again before I get married again.
Oh.
She said she would have a baby with no epidural.
Damn.
Yeah.
What y'all doing over there?
I feel like the investment that you put into it, that like I feel like if you're doing it right and you're pouring into your marriage and you're really trying to make this thing work, I just don't know if I have enough to do it again.
Yeah, I think it's the like she said, the investment. It's not that it's difficult. It's like you're always having to be on your A game.
You're pouring in.
Right. Yeah. It's always constant. Like at work, I can kind of chill sometimes, or I could have a day where I could do more walking around and I'm in the meetings and all of the other stuff, right? Some days are more busy than others. In marriage, there is no slowing down. Ever.
You got to put in that work every day.
Every day. You got to come home and do something every day.
And like I said, I don't know if I would have that same energy to start over because starting over, like say we get 10 years in the game and God forbid like he die or we divorce, then starting from ground zero is not like 10 years.
Right.
And then to have that same energy to pour into someone fresh, someone you know what I'm saying, they're different, you're different.
Right.
That's
starting over. And then, you know, I don't think anybody gets married to get divorced. So I think everybody has that intention, but sometimes it just doesn't work. And for anybody who's listening, that has been the case where it didn't work. That doesn't mean you can't love again. That doesn't mean you can't build again. Maybe you weren't, that wasn't the right person. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I guess I get what y'all are saying. I think that's beautiful because it sounds like you truly want to stick to your vows. You truly want to stick to the partnership, to the commitment that you've made, to the covenant that you've started with your lifelong partner. But in the event that it doesn't work, guess what? You know what? That divorce failed. You're not a failure. You know what I'm saying? So let's build from there. Your husband is a second timer. And look at him building all over again. You know what I'm saying? Getting those years under your belt. But this time, wiser, stronger, and prayerfully, you know, making it last forever.
Right. It's about the foundation, right? First marriage built on quicksand. So you didn't have a choice. I hope you got a rope. Hope you can pull yourself out. Call Indiana Jones with the whip.
Well, I'm going to have me a boyfriend if this don't work out.
I'm done. This is till death, okay?
I'm just like, I'm not, even, God forbid, if you die before me,
look, notice she putting you out there first, though. Yeah. She done said that twice.
Yeah,
like, God forbid, you die first.
It's you.
Something happen is you die. That's funny.
I love you.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get out of here, from both of you, what advice would you give to single people wanting to be married?
Go ahead, husband.
The advice I would give is, really truly get to know who you are trying to date. Like a lot of us, we get caught up in that one date, that nice conversation on the phone, and we can end up being with that person forever. And that representative stays there. And once you get together, you try to figure that person out in the relationship, which you should have figured out while you were dating that person. You know what I mean? We get too caught up within that good time and that feeling that we had from that day of that day of whatever you may want to call it that you were dating. But once we get with each other, we try to learn each other, and it be too late. Like we get too deep into our situations and it makes it complicated along the line. It really does. So just get to know the person that you're dealing with before y'all go to that next level.
Good stuff. Okay, and honestly, God, there's so much advice that I would give to a single person. But I think honestly, become one before you become one. And what I mean by that is really focus on becoming whole. And that whole deals with self-love, deals with understanding who you are, what makes you happy, what makes you, sad, just really understanding yourself. Because a lot of times we get involved with someone and we want them to be our all. Like we want them to complete us. We want them to, fill those areas where there is void. And we're like, nah, that's not how it works. Because one unrealistic expectation is having your husband or your wife to be your everything.
Mm.
So if you're coming into a relationship expecting them to be your everything, that means you haven't become one before you became one. So you really have to focus on becoming a whole individual, and you want to attract a whole individual so y'all can be one together. So that's what I would focus on. While you are single, embrace that single season, but focus on becoming a better version of yourself. Because even when you become a wife, you're still going to be focusing on becoming a better version of yourself. So it's a process that never ends. It's a process that continues throughout your life. And it's a process of self-discovery. And it's probably one of the best things you can do, but start while you're single.
Amen.
You know what? We just going to send y'all that whole check next week.
Hey, we'll take it. Appreciate
it. We will have the information for her masterclass.
Yes. Actually, I'm in the last masterclass right now. So for those who are interested, my next one won't be until January. However, I do have some other services that I offer, including a 90-day wife development program, where women can work with me one-on-one for 90 days to get that exclusive coaching that I offer in my masterclass, but it's really one-on-one.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. If you need that, I will have all her information so you can just go ahead and DM her so nobody won't know.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
So it was great having both of you here. I am so glad that we were able to get both of you. This was, we keep having these
it's been some really good interviews.
These deacons and these deaconess on there.
We're going to start our own church with all of these people.
Okay.
It's going to be the marriage church.
Right. It's the church. You know what? That is
that might be something.
Man, write that down. Shoot.
It's the marriage church, okay?
We're not even going to lie about that. I like that.
I'm telling you.
But yeah.
Come in here with the word.
Yeah.
The truth.
Because when I tell you that probably hit some people, I know it did.
It hit me. Shit.
So do you have any last words, babe?
No. Derek, do you still cut hair?
I do every day.
Where's your barbershop?
3910 Flatstone, right off of Flatstone Parkway in Taylor Road.
Yeah, okay, I know where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the hood, you know what I'm talking about.
So guys, if y'all listening to this, if y'all need to go get a haircut so he can tell y'all how to spit that real game.
Come get a haircut, come holler at yourself.
Get a cut and some advice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because you know they barbers and counselors and therapists.
Yeah.
All at once.
It's three people you trust, right? God.
Yeah. That's where all my ministry go down at the barbershop.
What is it? Is God, your spouse, and your barber? Yeah, I think that's the three. Yep. That sounds accurate.
Funny.
Yeah.
No, but thank you both. This was amazing. I really had a good time talking to you all. And
a pleasure.
I got some support finally.
Oh, boo.
Shout out to Derek.
Hey, man, I'm all for the men, man. You know what I'm talking about?
Shout out to
stand together, man.
No doubt.
I'm about to mute both of y'all mics.
No, this was dope. Thank y'all so much for having us. We appreciate you. And just look forward to connecting with you even more offline.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely, because I got some plans in store for you and your husband, Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that episode.
It was awesome. The wife coach and the husband coach.
I'm just gonna speak that.
Hey, look, man. He had a lot of validity to a lot of things he said.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about. Like, that's kind of like what I had when I was single with my married friends. You had like those kind of conversations, but it was just me. So I had coaching along the way until I got here.
Yeah, that's why you were so annoying in the marriage at first, because
you thought I knew everything?
Yeah. My damn nerves.
I just knew more than you. I didn't know
everything. You don't
everything.
know shit. You just been around people that been through shit.
That taught me, so I know more than you. But yeah, so that's kind of like why we do the podcast, so they can have the friends too to help them.
Yes, we're your friends, guys. We're here to help provide some guidance with the friends that we've made via this podcast.
Craig.
Thanks, Craig. So until next time, Craig. Peace.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.